You are now listening to the Be Your Own #LoveGoals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
We just want you to remember that every person, regardless of identity, wants these three things: belonging, authenticity, and love.
And after a decade of partnership, we've learned to co-create these things and so much more.
So from wherever you're listening, we're going to go on a journey of becoming our own #LoveGoals. Now let's get into this episode. You are now listening to the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast. It's Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
Thank you all so much for joining us. It's a wonderful... Wait, how does that song go?
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Beautiful. Thank you for starting us out with the holly jolly, very merry and bright.
Yes.
It is the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful. So first we want to say happy holidays to everyone listening, regardless of what you're celebrating during this time. We just want you to know that you are loved.
Yes.
So whatever background, tradition, culture, part of the world you're listening from, we just want you to know that you are love goals.
You are love goals, always 365.
Absolutely. Thank you for that brightness and lightness too. This time of year always has me thinking a lot about traditions, fun, beautiful things that we do every year. And what came up for me when I was thinking about this episode is that Tiffany always has me watching holiday romantic comedies with her. Whether it's on BET Plus, Hallmark, Lifetime, she is watching them. And it's a secret that I watch these with her.
Is it a secret?
People don't know that I will indulge you in this effort to be merry and bright. So I'll watch these holiday movies with her, and they often this is how they all are pretty much structured, because they're pretty much structured the same way. Now, I do it because I like to cuddle with her, and I like what comes after cuddling.
Really?
So it's important for me to partake in these movies. But they're pretty much all. If you've seen one, you've probably seen them all, because they start with, somebody being single for Christmas, faking it, tricking their family into thinking they're not single somehow, falling in love with the person who's pretending with them.
Yes.
Then being like, oh no, I can't do it. And then they all go their separate ways. And then they race them down to the airport to make sure that they stay.
Oh my gosh.
And then they kiss. And then the end. But I still watch them with Tiffany because it brings her joy. And for whatever reason.
They're pretty predictable.
But you still watch them.
I still do. Every year, faithfully.
But they got me thinking, how many people are single during the holidays? And how it can bring up so much grief for people this time of year, that they are not with someone. These movies bring this expectation that you'd be in love, that you'd have kids to put presents under the Christmas tree for. And so for the people who are not in relationships during this time, it can bring up a lot of grief. So before we jump into our episode on being single for the holidays, I have to start with, Tiffany, what is your favorite holiday movie?
Oh my gosh. I was waiting for you to ask me this question.
Of course.
Well, as you said, I love a lot of holiday movies, but my favorite one right now is Best Man Holiday.
Okay. All right.
You heard that right. Best Man Holiday.
And please tell everybody why. That movie is so sad. Tell everybody why you love that movie.
That movie is very sad. And admittedly, I rewatch the saddest part of that movie every time. Like, it's like my favorite part.
It was many sad parts in that movie.
I mean, it is.
I mean, I think before, I won't spoil it for anybody, but like when he's running from the football field to get to her, that's a pretty, sad part. It's like emotional, but that's not the saddest part, I imagine. What was the part that was like...
I feel like the saddest part for me was after the funeral. Well, hopefully I'm not spoiling this for anyone.
We are not saying characters' names. If you know, you know.
And when the casket was being lowered into the ground and he just lost it, his friends ran up and held him. I was like, wow, like you could just feel the love.
Yeah.
And I love that movie so much because I feel like it shows the real of the holidays. Oftentimes in mainstream media, you get, we're so in love and so happy, and it's family and kids and gifts and all the things. But in this particular movie, you experience grief up front. And you
Yeah.
have a person that
Yeah.
is experiencing the loss of their spouse, children
Yeah.
experiencing the loss of their
Yeah.
mother, friends experiencing the loss of a very dear friend at the holidays, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, I feel like it's a real depiction of what the holidays can be for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not to say that grief always comes, but it's not just
Yeah.
the Christmas carols and the
Yeah.
baking cookies, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
But it's so much more for that. And I just want, my heart goes out to anyone struggling during this holiday season as a single person or not as a single person, who is really wanting that connection, that
Yeah.
family. Because I know that this time you see all of the commercials and the movies about all the things you should be doing together and the traditions. And I just want you to know that you are not alone and you are so, so loved.
Yeah.
And I just know, I just hold space for how difficult that might be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for saying that out loud. Now, we're going to have an episode coming up that's about grief during the holidays.
Yes.
So if you are listening to this episode isn't going to just be about grief.
Right.
It's really going to jump into what it's like to be single during the
Yep.
holidays, the things that single people might be encountering that make their time uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So just being aware of what it's like for your counterparts who don't have partners during this time. That's what we're trying to shed light on during this episode. But we are going to have an episode coming up about grief during this time. And so if you're experiencing anything that Tiffany just named, like grief, loss of a partner, loss of a relationship, a transition, a move, we're going to get into all of that. This episode, though, we're going to just dive in to what it's like to be bombarded with all these messages about how you're supposed to have a partner in a family, especially if you're in your 30s during this holiday season, and how we can say F all of that and create our own love holiday goals.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
This time can actually be a wonderful time to connect with someone. It can be a wonderful time to just give yourself love. It can be a wonderful time in general. And so we want to talk about how we could navigate that if we are single. And so let's just jump right into thank you so much for teeing it up.
Yes.
Talking about Best Man Holiday. That is not my favorite holiday movie because it is so sad.
It's so good though. It's so well made. It's like the Black excellence.
I love that.
Yes.
I do love that.
It is sad though. I will admit it's a very sad movie.
Yeah, but I do love that. I love that, there are not that many. I don't love this. I don't love that there are not that many movies that depict Black people in joy.
Yes.
So to have a movie that is an ensemble cast of people living their best lives and going through life, even through the challenges together, we don't have a lot of depictions of that. And a lot of depictions of Black people or ensemble cast that are not enslaved, that are not
oh my God,
segregated or doing, the history movies are very important, but we also don't have a lot of spotlight on the present for Black people. And so it's really beautiful to have that. And so I cannot say that is a bad holiday movie. I just don't like to be sad. And I cry.
Well, I'm a Cancer. And so
a Gemini, baby. I do that every time you say you're a Cancer.
I listen to music, watch movies, think about memories that are sad or make me cry. To connect to my feelings. It's kind of strange. Like, I listen to sad music to feel sad.
Do any other Cancers relate?
Nova does this as well.
Tap in. If you're a Cancer, do y'all listen to stuff to make y'all cry or watch movies to make you cry?
I'm sure we'll get some yeses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hilarious. But so when I think about being single for the holidays or that experience of being single, I feel like there's a lot of situations or experiences that are traditionally related to the holidays that can make a single person feel very uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And I just want to go through a couple of them right now because like even thinking about it, it can be cringy.
Yeah.
And when we say single here, I just want to clarify that it's, whether you recently lost a partner, whether
you ended the relationship
you ended the
yourself.
relationship, and it doesn't necessarily have to be over a death. It could be a break. Like, it's so many reasons.
And it doesn't have to be sad.
It doesn't have to be
These
sad.
major transitions still bring up a lot of stuff, a lot of healing. And so even if you feel like, oh, it was an amicable end, we're good, it's still a transition in your life from having someone in your life that's like, that was there all the time to not being there.
Right.
Or even if you're not recently single, just thinking about all the expectations that we're bombarded with around partnership during this time, it can be a lot.
Exactly. So one particular thing I'm thinking about is, you're headed to Christmas dinner and your family starts asking you about your relationship. Why did it end? When did it end?
Yeah.
All of these things, all of these uncomfortable questions that you might be getting from all sorts of people that I know could put you in a position to be like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Absolutely. I think those questions from family members can get pretty invasive and they're not really aware that it's uncomfortable. So when I think about any family gathering we've been at, now me and you, we haven't really, I will casually be like, if Tiffany want to have more kids, but like we play like that, but there are many people who, really it hurts them for people to ask them, when are you going to settle down and have a family?
It does.
For many people, it's not like they're getting in their own way.
Exactly.
So when you ask a person who doesn't have a partner or doesn't have a long-term relationship, when you're going to settle down, it's almost like you're blaming them for why they're not partnered. It does not feel good. So don't ask those kinds of questions.
Yeah, just don't. Just don't.
And or if you see a couple, let's say like us, and we don't have kids yet, asking us, hey, when are y'all gonna have kids? Does not feel good because you don't know if people are trying and they're having any challenges with fertility. So the same thing for people who are not partnered. When you ask them about their dating life, you want to have a lot of care. You might want to say something like, hey, so I know the last time I talked to you, you were dating this person. How has that been going? If they say, no, that hasn't been working out, it's not been that great, then I think it's a good opportunity to check in with them and say, like, would you like to talk more about that? If they don't want to talk about it, then say, okay, I really appreciate you just even sharing that. I would love to talk to you about anything that feels good for you. I just want to connect with you. A lot of times our family members are just curious. And so it's good to just convey that to them. Like, I'm just curious about you. I just want to get the updates, whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
That's such a beautiful model of what a conversation can look like. I feel like oftentimes that's not where family goes. Like, it can come across in a very potentially abrasive way, but I think the intention of it is curiosity. And so I think that's a great example of how those conversations can go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another thing I think that could be difficult for people during a single person during the holiday is seeing social media posts. People love matching Christmas pajamas or matching holiday pajamas.
We do, not gonna lie. I just picked up some bluey pajamas out of the mailbox today. Put them in my trunk. Not gonna hold you.
Yes.
Tiffany sent me a link to some family bluey pajamas.
And they were ordered within 10 minutes.
Not gonna hold you. But then when we post that picture, just being mindful, like when other people see those things, they could feel, sadness. And it's not always sadness that's rooted in jealousy or anything. I don't think that that's where it's coming from. A lot of people, it's just that a lot of people want to know when they're going to be able to cultivate that.
Absolutely.
So it's important to be aware not to hide your own light and your own joy. So don't stop posting your family pajama pictures, but to just hold space in your life for your friends who may not have that. You might even want to include them in that. What are your ideas about that, Tiff?
Yeah, I think you're getting at something really important because I think it's really, for a single person, I think most often they feel like they don't have a space.
Yeah.
And so for a person to include them in some way, in some sort of tradition, and in this particular one, we're talking about social media,
Yeah.
I think it's really meaningful. Whether
Yeah.
you are, you have a friend and you're ordering Christmas pajamas for your family and you ask them if they want a pair, right? They might not
Yeah.
be at the holiday photos with you, but it's that thought, that inclusion.
Yeah.
And even if y'all do meet up at some point and y'all take a picture together, you can post that together,
Yeah.
And so finding, I think, little ways to be inclusive, I think is important because I think the root of the challenge, well, I would say one of the roots is that a lot of people just don't know where they fit in.
Mm.
And so I think being inclusive in that way can be super beautiful
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
so giving to everybody involved.
Mm. You got me sitting here thinking about a bunch of ideas I can do, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
I'm about
see
to
you
get on my
over there
computer
thinking.
because it's just so special.
Mhm.
And I sometimes am not aware or take for granted how much impact that has, that you
Mhm.
include people
Mhm.
who, I think you just said something so beautiful just about how sometimes when we don't have the family we've created ourselves yet,
Yeah.
that we can feel like, where's our place? You
Mhm.
know, our families of origin have evolved.
Yep.
Everybody has kids and all of these things. And then if you're a person that doesn't, or you don't have a partner, you don't have children, then
Mhm.
it can feel like, well, where's my place? Because my
Mhm.
family of origin has changed.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking about anybody in this time in their life right now. Then it's
Mhm.
like, well, what is it like if you're a friend to someone or
Mhm.
family to someone
Mhm.
to say, well, you're still a part of our family. Come get in on these Christmas shirts. Come get in
Yeah.
on these like ugly sweaters and
Mhm.
pajamas. I feel like that's beautiful. And it's
Yeah.
just giving me so many ideas
I
for
see your wheels
myself.
turning over there. I can't
Yeah,
wait to pick your brain.
absolutely. We talk about it after this episode.
Yes.
I thank you so much for saying that out loud because I
Mhm.
know social media can be such a source of pain for
Yes.
people. And it's not jealousy most of the time.
Mhm.
It's usually just feeling like you said it spot on, like they don't know where they belong.
Mhm.
And we say all people, regardless of
Mhm.
identity, want three things: belonging,
Mhm.
being number one,
Yes.
authenticity, that's to be yourself with
Mhm.
someone
Mhm.
or people,
Mhm.
regardless of how you show up,
Yep.
and then love.
Mhm.
At the core of all of our pursuits of humanity, it's
Mhm.
like belonging, authenticity, love.
Yep.
So if people don't know where they belong, how do they know that they have the other two?
Mhm.
They're so deeply intertwined. So it just
Yeah.
hit me. And I think social media plays a big role in like
Yeah.
whether or not people are experiencing themselves
Mhm.
as belonging.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like the holidays just bring up so much. And we're sitting here talking and so deeply impacted as people that are in relationship, right? And have
Yeah.
been for years. And
Yeah.
so just sitting with the difficulty or the challenge, that we might be experiencing personally, but also that we witness with our
Yeah.
single friends or family members. And so I think
Yeah.
it just shows you how challenging this time and space can be for everyone, and
Mhm.
especially people like we're saying that don't
Mm.
necessarily feel like they have a space
Mm.
or feel like there's room for them in whatever dynamic or tradition that there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. I'd love to hear feedback from our audience
Mhm.
about ways in which you all have been navigating um, ways in which you all have been navigating this in your lives. So if you want to send us an email, you want to
Yeah.
reply in the comments under this if you're looking at this on YouTube, or you want to hit us up on social media, I want to
Mhm.
hear from you all how you've been navigating the holidays as a single person,
Mhm.
and what steps you've been taking to take care of yourself and to include
Mm.
yourself and to
Mhm.
create belonging for yourself and community. So that's an aside.
Mhm.
Getting back to these ways in which
Yeah.
single people are impacted during the holidays, because
Yeah.
I'm in my little heart
You
bubble
are
right
in your
now.
heart bubble, and I love
I got a
that.
little bleeding heart right now though. Tiffany busted wide open talking about belonging. I was like, you're right.
It is. And I think, even when we think about these other ways that could be difficult for people that are single, we can all relate it back to this, right? Like,
Yeah.
oftentimes companies host holiday parties during the holidays, and oftentimes you get a +1.
Yeah.
And that +1 is typically intended for a companion or a partner.
Yeah.
So imagine as a single person, you get this invitation and you're like, who am I going to take?
Yeah.
I feel like it can be gut punches time after time.
Absolutely.
To question like, okay, where am I fitting in? Like, how is this going to work for me? Or other holiday traditions that are intended for companions.
Seriously, I went to the holiday party last year for Hinge, and it was amazing. And you were in New York, but we had Nova with us for this trip. And so you didn't come to the actual party. And I remember being there, like I bounced from coworker to coworker, but they all had their partners. So I wasn't trying to linger too long while in their moment. It's also louder, so it's very intimate space to be like yelling in someone's ear or just like all up in their ears, right? And so I remember being like, oh, I really wish Tiffany was here. So I can only imagine if you're going into that space without a person, without a partner, trying to meet new people, and what that experience might be like. So I saw many women that were there bring their friends, and I thought that was beautiful. I just imagine that that's challenging. So I got a little taste of it, and I think you're right. We've been together for a long time, and so I think a lot of times in families, I can imagine so many people in your family might not be aware of how you're being impacted through this season if you are single. And so some of the questions are coming from this privilege or this lack of awareness. And that's not to excuse the behavior. I invite anybody who's listening to also feel empowered to explain to someone how what they're asking or what they're saying, or not giving you a +1 to a party, how that's offensive, because it's important to advocate for yourself so that you have the best season possible.
Right.
Something else that I think impacts a lot of people during this time is being away from family. We saw that a lot in the pandemic. We were separated from our families, many of us, because we didn't know what was going to happen in 2020. We did not know when the cure was coming, anything like that. No vaccine.
Right.
So being away from family hit us all hard. And I think it still hits many people hard during the holidays. Let's say if you don't have a partner, you don't have your own family that you're creating. Maybe you don't even have chosen family. Let's say you move to a new place for work, but you cannot get home for the holidays to where you're from. So being away from family can really be challenging, because how do you institute all of those traditions that are created for groups by yourself?
Exactly.
And how does this feel joyous when you're used to it being the celebration of many different people in the same space? It's a tall order.
It's a tall order. It really is.
Can you speak to that, Tiff? Because you're often away from your family. And I know this came up a lot in our relationship early on, because you would come to, my mom is a Christmas Eve baby. So Christmas is often in Chicago for us, because my mom's birthday is at the same time. And Thanksgiving is pretty big in the South. So we are always pretty much in Thanksgiving in South Carolina for Thanksgiving. But so then Tiffany is often with my family in Chicago, and I'm wondering for you, Tiffany, how that's been for you.
I mean, it's been an adjustment. I feel like it helps in this dynamic because Thanksgiving is the larger holiday, has always been, or the one that, we put in a lot of time and effort. And Christmas is big too, but it's more like people do their own thing on Christmas Day. And so that has made it easier. And having the ability to have this new family, this additional family that is so welcoming, so inviting. I'm at the point now where I am like, oh my God, I can't wait for Christmas in Chicago. That doesn't mean I don't miss my family, but neither does it mean it's a consolation prize. It means I really enjoyed the traditions that we've created there. I would be lying if I told you that it was just very easy in the beginning.
Yeah, it was
I
hard.
often felt like I was in the middle. I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily fully present to you and your family.
Yeah.
And if I was with my family, I wasn't fully present there either because I wanted to be with you, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that over time I have just learned the beauty of presence.
Mm.
And so I really make the most of the time during Thanksgiving, or if, I'm not with my family per se on Christmas Day and we end up spending New Year's together, we might open gifts New Year's Day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just finding alternative ways to be present to the moments as they're happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way of saying it. I think you have had a really nice journey of exploring what the holidays will look like for you and well us together.
Yeah.
But in particular, like how that impacts you because you were so sentimental. Like the
Yeah.
holidays, anything having to do with home and fireplaces and eggnog, like all of that.
I'm your
Tiffany is
girl.
yes, so sentimental. So I definitely experienced the wanting to be in two places at once with you in the beginning, and it definitely feels like you fully leaned into being in Chicago. It's like we went to Chicago for Christmas for the first time since the pandemic last year. So it was like a couple years where we weren't in Chicago for Christmas. And it was like something else moved into place. Like this is where we're supposed to be for Christmas. It was colder
Cold as
than
I don't know what.
I think it hadn't been that cold since 1991.
Yeah. It was like negative
It
35
had
or
to be
something.
yeah. I was like, how are any of the pipes still okay when the pipes burst in Atlanta at 50 degrees? But
Come
that's
on.
that's a whole other thing. But it was so cold, but it felt like how Christmas was supposed to be. And so we're excited to be doing that again.
Yes.
Another thing that's over here on this list is traveling alone. I think we know that can just be challenging in general. But it's also an opportunity to create a tradition that you want to create.
Right.
Then I think gifts ends up being a
Yeah.
big thing when you don't have anybody to exchange gifts with. That's something that single people face.
Yeah.
That if their families haven't committed to doing gift exchanges could be impacting them and we might not be aware.
Right.
So when you think it's like, oh, that person doesn't need a gift or they have everything, really second guess that. Really take some time to think, how can I show up for people during this season who don't have the same kind of community?
Yes.
When we think about gifts, we're sometimes thinking gifts in a physical way, but gifts can sometimes be the gift of time, the gift of community.
Exactly.
When we think of abundance, I want us to think beyond the material because having a partner, kids, a place to do holidays with, that's abundance of the greatest kind.
Yes.
To have a family that's healthy and been able to be there together and show up, that is abundance. So some people may not have that level of community. So to invite them in is a gift in itself.
Yes. I was just going to say, for example, if you have a friend that loves baking and it's the holidays and you're like, I'm going to ask them if we can bake some cookies together.
Yeah.
My heart just like fluttered because I know how much that would mean to a person like me who really enjoys baking.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the opportunity that I have to, bake cookies with Nova or bake cookies with any other person in my community, to have a friend reach out to me and say, hey, I want to do this thing with you.
Yeah.
That to me is what the holidays are all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for saying that, Tiff.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. And then I think the actual holidays can be rough if you don't have a gathering to attend.
Yeah.
So when you think of the day of whatever your holiday tradition is supposed to take place, if you don't have any kind of gathering to attend, it can actually be rough. So I think that's the last one on our list here. But it speaks a lot to all of the things that you have been saying.
Yeah.
Tiffany's been holding us in the heart space.
Oh my God. And I feel like my heart is just, oof.
Yeah.
All the feels.
So I have a question that needs answers for you.
Okay.
Because they sent this in for Tiff. It says, my question is for Tiffany. Wait,
it's for me?
My question is for Tiffany.
Okay.
I'm going to try and read it like them.
Okay.
My question is for Tiffany. Sis, I need your help. My ex-boyfriend reached out to me because he recently broke up with his girlfriend and he doesn't have a lot of family. He wants to spend the holidays with me and my family because they are still important people in his life. We've been broken up for 2 to 3 years and we've been able to maintain a good friendship. I primarily date women now and I am not thinking about getting back with him, but I do feel sad for him because I don't want him alone during the holidays. This makes sense why this question came for Tiffany. I don't think he'd try anything romantic with me. I think he just really wants the family. Should I share my family with him this year? What if I have a girlfriend next year and he wants to keep coming yearly? Will that be weird for me in the future? Questions that need answers, Tiff.
Whew. This is a doozy.
Not a doozy.
It's a doozy. And I feel like for all of the reasons that we've mentioned already in this episode, and just being in the holiday spirit and thinking about love and wanting people to feel held and connected, invite them, sis. Invite them.
Okay.
Invite them. Because you never know what the invitation itself can do for your ex-boyfriend. I'm gonna look at you directly, sis. You never know what that invitation can do directly for your ex-boyfriend. And I feel like if you all have been cultivating a friendship and have been cultivating a relationship, and he has a relationship with your family, you can set the intention that, nothing romantic is happening here. This is strictly platonic. I think that it sets the stage for it to be just that. And the joy that he could experience by being in the midst of your family, I feel like will totally outweigh any potential passes that he might have at you. And I think having that conversation up front is really important. Now, thinking about next year, if you have a girlfriend, I mean, that's something y'all would have to talk about. I feel like this person is a part of your family at this point. So they need to be introduced to your future partners as family.
Yeah.
If it's the potential that this person will be a frequent visitor at holiday functions or just family functions in general, I feel like that is also a conversation that will need to be had with your future partner.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like if this ex-boyfriend is able to be just family and be in the fold and really supportive of your next relationships and can really show up for you if you had someone else present, then they seem like a viable candidate to be coming to your family functions. No, I actually grew up in a space. I'm of the Black family origin where you have all kinds of kinship.
Yeah.
It's like cousins, uncles, aunties, play cousins, uncles, aunties, neighbors, this friend that you had from many years. Like everybody gets invited to the cookout, right? Everybody gets invited to the holiday gathering. And when there have been divorces in the family, when there are kids involved, you don't stop inviting the other parent. They get to come as well because they're showing up for their kids potentially. And if they've already created community and family and they're just as loved and they feel comfortable, why would we separate these families, right?
Exactly.
And I know that in this instance, it doesn't sound like they have kids involved, but the way that family can look is expansive. It goes beyond just biological family. So if that partner was with you for some time and created family, especially if their biological family is no longer there, it could mean so much to him that he is yet to be able to describe. And so if you're saying y'all are not even trying to get back to eat with each other, that shows you how much your family means to him.
Exactly.
And so there might be boundaries you can put in place. Like you need to keep talking to him ongoing, like, hey, just so you know, these are the boundaries. I'm dating this person. Will you be supportive of me? Can you show up for me in order to keep coming to these family
that's a good
functions?
point too.
And if he's able to do that, I would say certainly. And I think what Tiffany said is so important. Him being introduced to new family members, him being introduced to new partners as family is important.
Yes.
because you want to set the expectation with them that he's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Given that this is an already established relationship, somebody coming in and being threatened by that or jealous, that's
a little questionable.
Yeah, it's questionable because like, yeah, y'all had sex, but like this is a previous, I'm assuming y'all had sex, but this is a previous relationship that is no longer standing. And if this person has already built those bonds with your family, they shouldn't be kicked out just because you have a new love. Unless you have feelings for him and unless he has feelings for you, then we need to be talking about that.
Exactly.
But if y'all can manage the boundaries and it really is platonic and he's like a brother now or a family member or something now, then I think that, family is family.
Yep.
But not in like the toxic, this you should do anything for them way.
Right.
Just in this is a person that you love and care about. So don't ice them out just because you have a partner. Really do the work to bring that partner into the fold and to really allow this ex-boyfriend to become family and nurture your new relationships and really support you and celebrate you. This sounds like a good friend too. So don't lose that friendship.
Yeah, don't lose the friendship. Yeah.
And you're gonna feel so happy that you really supported him during this season. It's gonna be worth it.
Yeah. Well, Mo, just thinking about this episode as a whole and like this particular example from one of our listeners, it kind of moves us nicely into our hashtag love resources. Thinking about like what are actual ways that you can enjoy the holidays as a single person or a recently separated person. Like what are tangible things that somebody can walk away after listening to this episode today and say, I'm going to try this thing. What are some of those things you feel like?
So I think first on that list would be to think about the essential traditions that you love, that you want to keep going, and find ways to still create those traditions for yourself or with chosen family.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a partner, your family of origin can be your chosen family. Some of them might be, some of them might not be. You might have friends, you might have community. Allow your chosen family to really show up for you and cultivate some traditions with them. You might say, I want to host a Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
I want to host a holiday gathering with friends. I want to watch a rom-com marathon with my friends.
That's not a bad idea.
I want to get together with my friends and create a holiday card for us to send out to all of our friends.
I love that.
Absolutely. I want to get together with other content creators in a house for a night and we just create holiday themed content together. Whatever you want your tradition to be, I invite you to do that.
I love that. I think that it's so beautiful and it's something that we take for granted how meaningful it is. And I think another example of that is if you do have holiday parties and things to go to, have your friends on speed dial.
Absolutely.
Your friends can go.
Yeah.
I think that oftentimes the plus ones that you get in these invitations are intended for partners, but you can bring whoever you want. Take your friend with you and be very thoughtful or intentional about which friend or which person you want to take with you to these parties because you can still have a lot of fun without it being a romantic partner.
Absolutely. Yeah. My sister has taken our best friend to some holiday parties back in the day with her job. I'm like, these parties still sound epic and I was not there.
And you've gone to holiday parties with friends as their plus one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It had such a great time. And so I would say it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it to take your friends.
Yes. I think also, like you were saying, having a plan for the actual holiday is important. And with having that plan, I would really say try to make the plan ahead of time so you don't get to the day and you're like, what am I going to do? Because for a lot of people, it might mean that you have to travel or it might mean you need to make some sort of accommodations to be able to celebrate the specific holiday on that day. And so having a plan ahead of time with on what that's going to look like, what you're going to be doing, just having a solid plan. And obviously the plan can change and you can be flexible, but knowing what you're going to do ahead of time for me personally is very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've already said the idea of hosting a gathering yourself of some kind, or creating a holiday photo with yourself on it by yourself.
Love that.
Absolutely. I've gotten them and I love them.
I may have to do one of those in addition to our family photo this year.
No, this is they got enough of us on their fridge already.
Oh my god!
If you want bonus points, let it come already with the magnet. Me and Tiffany buy the actual magnets and we stick the picture onto it. We buy the magnet the size of the back of the picture, and then we lay the picture on it. It takes a little extra work, but then people already have it ready for their fridge, and it stays on the fridge longer because it's now a magnet for everything else.
Yeah. Facts.
So if you want to be on somebody's fridge, you put that magnet already on it, and probably just this one more stamp to do that.
Yeah.
So it ends up being
of
2
extra
stamps.
postage. Yeah. It's
So
worth it. It brings a lot of cheer, and people, like you mentioned, have those magnets up. Have had those magnets up for years at this point. Because every year I get a picture like adding to the collection, and I'm like, oh, my whole heart.
It also makes people, whether you're single or not, feel loved and like they have family when they have a picture of a family member or a friend on their refrigerator. It's a thing that we don't think about. Now make the picture extra classy so it can go on people's fridge.
Okay.
Because you won't get up there if that picture is not right now.
I know.
And then the last thing is creating some type of a holiday gift exchange with your community, family, friends. So that if you are a person where you love gifts and you really want to participate in that, then try to get the jump start on cultivating that so that you are not left out of that tradition if you really, really want it.
Yeah.
Tiffany, I've got a couple truth or truth questions for you before we wrap up this episode. We love to play games. That's the way we connect. So we have a segment here called Truth or Truth for anybody who's new to listening to the podcast. And that's because we usually started this with Truth or Dare, but Tiffany does not play right. She never chooses Dare.
True.
And when she does choose Dare, it's always outlandish. So it ended up being Truth or Truth. And it's a mix of would you rather and all kinds of questions. So our question today is coquito or eggnog?
That is very hard.
Coquito or eggnog?
Now, can I specify which occasion I would have either one?
Let's think December holidays.
December holidays. If I'm just at home trimming the tree with Nova, it's probably going to be eggnog. If I'm out at a little holiday party gathering with some good music, coquito.
What's the difference?
Coquito has the liquor in it.
They both have liquor.
Oh, that's coquito.
I mean, you don't have to have liquor in the eggnog, but most people put rum in it.
That's true.
They just have a different flavor.
I'm gonna choose the coquito. For anybody that has no idea what coquito is, it is I believe it's a Puerto Rican adjacent drink to eggnog. It has rum. It has like coconut crema in it, cinnamon. I'm probably not giving you the exact recipe, but it's a very delicious eggnog-like drink.
Now, it takes a bit of divination to get it right.
Absolutely.
It's so good when it's right.
A lot of divination. I do not proclaim to be anyone who is like a coquito queen.
I've had clients bring it to me as a holiday gift.
It's so good.
I felt loved. You know who you are if you listen to this podcast. I felt loved. I was like, whoa, that's still the best coquito I've ever had.
I'm choosing coquito.
Definitely coquito.
Mo, what for you? Canned cranberry sauce or homemade cranberry sauce?
On 3, Tiffany. 1, 2, 3.
Canned.
There is no other way.
Period.
There is no other way. I've never had let me not say that in case I have had one. I'm just going to say whenever I remember having it fresh, it was bitter or sour. It's very hard to sweeten those to the degree that Ocean Spray has got that down.
Yes, and if I'm not slicing it from the mold of it being in the can and adding it to the side of my turkey and dressing, I don't really want it.
And that's just being real. It's being 100, okay? All right, now baked mac and cheese or mac and cheese sauce?
Baked mac and cheese.
Because what are we
Why
doing?
is this even a question?
Because what are we doing making mac and cheese sauce?
Now, I have had mac and cheese with the mac and cheese sauce that is decent that I will eat. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner, this is the main event.
I've had plenty of mac and cheese sauces that I would eat. Now let me clarify, because what a lot of people do, this is what people do with this cheese sauce business. They'll say it's mac and cheese, and it's like, you're not using macaroni noodles. That's one. So it's not mac.
They be using shells.
They use shells. They use
rigatoni.
Penne. They use rigatoni. Yes, all of them. Fusilli. And that's fine, but then it's not mac and cheese.
No, that's true.
I think people don't get that the noodle is what qualifies what type of pasta it is. So that's just me being technical. So then I'm like, baked mac and cheese is like the only time you're going to see actual macaroni noodles in the noodles and cheese, essentially. That's the only time I've ever seen it. Otherwise, it's been all these other types of pasta. And I'm like, that's not mac and cheese.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because mac and cheese doesn't look cute with a cheese sauce, which is why you...
Not cute.
Not elbow macaroni.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So baked mac and cheese is really the only way to go. But a lot of people don't use the egg, milk, pepper, salt concoction that allows it to like not get all hard and whatnot. That's what keeps it moist. I'm not gonna drop my mom's recipe on here, but she makes the best mac and cheese. I would say your mom makes a really great mac and cheese too. But I'm of course gonna be devoted to my mom.
Yeah, of course, and as you should. You gotta answer to your mama.
Go
okay?
home in December.
Oh my gosh, I just feel like the holidays it's game time, right?
Game time.
So we pulling out the best of the best of the best for a lot of people. And for us, we don't eat a lot of the things that we eat during Thanksgiving and Christmas or any of the other holiday gatherings throughout the year.
Right.
So this is one of very few times in the year. So I want it right. I want it baked.
I want it as the ancestors intended.
Okay. So for me, it's a no-brainer whether I'm choosing baked mac or a cheese sauce.
Yeah. I think sometimes people also maybe don't know how to get the baked mac right. So the key too is to cook it in a Pyrex. You want it to be in a glass dish. If you cook it in a metal dish, it will take up the taste of the aluminum. So you don't want to cook or bake your mac and cheese in that. You want to bake it in a large Pyrex glass dish. That's the extra secret too, because then it cooks it evenly and it's going to cook it better. And that's the same thing if you cook in salmon, baked chicken, anything else. Get you a Pyrex. It's going to cook it differently than if you cook it in a metal container. So I think sometimes people don't know how to do that. And then they will be like, they'll just make a sauce. And the sauce is great. But even if you made the sauce and you baked it a little bit with the cheese on top, I think you would get a better outcome. Another thing with the baked mac and cheese is that you have to put slices of cheese throughout the middle of the pasta as well. I won't get into the recipe.
I'm like, you dropping the recipe as each minute goes along. Your mama gonna call you after this episode.
No, because they're not gonna know how to do it. It's fine.
Oh my God.
But it's still like, I just want to encourage people to go ahead and up their macaroni and cheese recipes for the next generation. These babies gonna grow up without an actual baked mac and cheese.
And yes, we had these shirts the year that we were pregnant with Nova during Thanksgiving. And it's one of my favorite shirts today that said, the mac and cheese is more important than the turkey. And I stand on that.
I
love turkey, but for me, the mac and cheese is the main event. If the mac and cheese ain't mac and cheesing, what we doing?
What are we doing? Y'all should, if you don't know how to make baked mac and cheese, just go ahead and get that Chick-fil-A mac and cheese because it's closer.
Yes, order it whenever if they not open on Thanksgiving, which they probably aren't. Maybe pick it up on Wednesday or do what you need to do. But
they have a really good baked mac and cheese. Now it's not exactly how it could be, but I think
they do a pretty good job.
I mean, it's pretty phenomenal for it to be a restaurant chain. So, unless you want to learn the recipe. Okay. I want to just end by saying that I have so much love for everybody who listens to these episodes weekly. We both do. And we are just so grateful that we are in a season of Thanksgiving joy. You all bring so much joy to us. And for anybody who's going through this season without a partner, without someone that is their anchor through life, I just want you to know that you have community. You are loved. You are important. You really mean a lot, and you always belong just for being your authentic self.
Absolutely.
And so I encourage you to just shine your light everywhere that you go, to go on holidays during the season. So some dates during the season if you feel inclined. If you just keeping to yourself this time of year, that's okay too. But remember to like reach out to your community or to join in on somebody's family. You never know how your beautiful energy could liven up someone else's holiday mood and tradition as well. So definitely feel free to bring yourself to other spaces, and know that you, by shining your light, will make a beautiful impact on somebody else's life during this time.
And I'm going to drop the mic on that one. We love you all so much.
We love you so much. This has been Be Your Own Love Goals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
Have a great day and be well.
Bye. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Video episodes are on YouTube and Spotify.
If you want your question included in an upcoming episode, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Be Your Own Love Goals, or check out our website at lovegoalspodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye.